Hi, I'm Zainab Darong, and this is my 18 media evaluation. Question 1. In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions? My media product has challenged the typical conventions of a documentary, as typically a documentary is led by a white middle-aged male, such as David Attenborough. However, my media product challenged that convention as we have two teenage presenters, one being a white male and one being an Asian female. The effective use of this is that males in the media are seen to have more superiority to women. Having both genders and different races makes the documentary more balanced and unbiased to one gender and more looked through a wider cultural perspective. The age of the presenters of my documentary also appeals more to my target audience, who are teenagers aged 15 and above. It followed and developed conventions of a typical documentary as it was informative, included statistics, talking heads, and an interview supporting our argument. This was about how technology and the BlackBerry Messenger is used by youth regularly, and also includes montages of real-life footage. In terms of mise-en-scène, we have used the convention of having simplistic wear for the costume of both presenters. In terms of the expository mode, my documentary followed the typical convention of having the voice of God narration running from the beginning throughout the rest of the documentary directly addressing our target audience. It follows the conventional linear narrative structure, and my media product displays the typical convention of having a bias towards the subject matter. The technology was a huge use by the youth during the riots. How effective is a combination of your main product and ancillary texts? The combination of the main product and ancillary text is that has shown our strengths of exploring different ways of using different media forms and different ways of advertising, as well as showing our media product. My ancillary tasks, being a radio advert and a double-page spread in a magazine, has shown my other skills in producing different media forms. Radio stations such as Kiss 100 and Radio 1 are popular stations which our target audience ranging from 15 to 22-year-olds listen to and were the chosen radio stations we would air our advert on. This is just a little clip of our radio advert which we had posted on our YouTube channel, the 18CCA.
This is the dispatches for the Skins generation. A never-before-seen breakdown of the London riots explored in this three-part series.
Reviving the riots.
London triggered off the domino effect of destruction.
My radio advert was effective, being a short 1-minute recording giving a brief insight and breakdowns on what my documentary is about, having enigma as it leaves the audience and listeners curious as to what else it would include. The use of the diegetic sound of police was effective as it had instantly alerted our audience at the start. It also represented a symbolism of the riots as the police were one of the main causes of the riots, as well as the rest of the government. The use of having the teenage presenters lead the advert is also effective, being representatives of today's youth, as it gives the audience a clue on who they should expect in the documentary. It also gives our target audience a feel of connecting and having an audience relationship with the presenters in our radio advert being of the same generation. The line at the beginning of the radio advert, "This is the dispatches for the skin generation," was something highly effective also, as it had made a connection with our second ancillary task, the double-page spread in a magazine, which has the line also stated at the top of the magazine double-page spread, like so. The magazine double-page spread was effective as our target audience tended to read TV magazines such as We Love Telly. So we were inspired to follow the layout of the magazine, however also keeping the layout simple. The simplicity of the double-page spreadsheet in a magazine was highly effective as our young target audience would prefer to have less writing and more visual. The large photo of one of the presenters with ghetto housing in the background is highly effective as it automatically attracts the audience. The pose by the presenter with his arms crossed also highlights his male dominance in a dangerous setting. It was also effective as we had followed the conventions of a magazine double-page spread article using a barcode, text in a box, using a header and title, and stating a website on it for more information. Question 3. What have you learned from audience feedback? Through audience feedback, questionnaires and verbal critical feedback through screenings, I have learnt that our target audience found my media product enjoyable to watch as they said it had a lot of visual footage. Audience feedback had informed us that they learnt more about the representation of youth in the media and that the majority of the representation of youth is majorly negative. They enjoyed the talking heads on the documentary. They had found it very informative and interesting as it had taught them more about the riots and had opened their eyes to how fast technology actually is. This also tying in with theorist David Buckingham's concept believing that youth identity and childhood are ever-changing or possibly non-existent. He states that childhood is a very modern concept, hasn't been around forever, and says that as media and social concerns change, childhood will also change because of the evolution of technology, which our documentary clearly had shown to our audience. Question 4. How did you use new technologies in construction, research, planning, and evaluation stages? For research and planning, I had used Google for researching the typical conventions of a documentary, which helped me and my group decide our plan for our documentary at the start. With the help of Google, we had found interviews and documentaries of the riots, which really helped inspire our ideas for our media product, such as Paul Lewis's of The Guardian documentary, Reading the Riots, which our documentary title Reviving the Riots had been inspired from. For planning and construction, I had used Tumblr, a very popular social networking site, particularly used by the ages of our target audience, to post up blogs such as recordings, images, vlog videos, and research. I found Tumblr really useful as it was extremely interactive and helpful critical comments were given to us by various Tumblr users, which we needed in order to know what to improve. Tumblr had laid out the progress of research clearly and was always a good help to see what else had needed to be done. YouTube was another website I had used, and we had created a YouTube channel to post our coursework and construction videos upon, and also highlights the theory of the prosumer, where consumers are becoming producers, supporting the theory of we media as we manage to create and upload our own professional documentary. Thank you for watching my A2 Media evaluation.